All right, guys, we are back, and we are live right now, and this is definitely a privilege to have our next guest on the line. This guy's held titles, so many titles to count. European welterweight champion. He's held regional titles in the light middleweight challenge for the light middleweight world title. Without further ado, international boxing superstar, welcome, getting ready for his big fight on the 2nd of March in South Africa, and we're talking about none other than Magic Matthew Hatton. Matthew, how you doing tonight, champ? Thanks for joining us here on ATG Radio.
Oh, no problem anytime, and thanks for a great introduction.
I could have gave you, there's so many to give you, Matt. I mean, you're one of the toughest fighters that's out there today.
That's nice of you to say so.
Entertaining, balls to the wall. I mean, I think it just runs in the family. And I got to ask you like this, it was over 6 months before the fight actually happened, was signed. 6 months ago, we found out you were going to be fighting Chris Van Heerden. It was before you actually had the fight with Michael Lomax, your last fight in October. Congratulations on that one.
Yep, thank you.
We spoke to your opponent 6 months ago, Chris Van Heerden, and we asked him. We said to him, because, he said he signed a new promoter, and they're working on the venue. I mean, I got to go right into this. This is a good fight. This is your second crack at the IBO World Championship. But with about 7 months' notice, did you actually think the fight was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's been quite a long-winded thing, really. The date of the fight has changed, the venue has chopped and changed, but I've kept in contact with the promoter, Show Pony Promotions, of the event. So I never really doubted that the fight was going to happen. It has been a little bit frustrating. Like I say, the date has been changed a couple of times. But no, I was never in any doubt that the fight was going to happen. And like you say, I've had plenty of time to have a look at Chris. See what he's all about. So I'm in great condition for this fight. I'm well prepared. Like you say, it's chops and change, but the fight's only a few weeks away now. So, finally it's coming around, and I'm looking forward to it.
Matthew, I want to pass you to my co-host, Tim Cudgess. He had a quick question for you. Tim.
Hey, Matthew. Yeah, I just had a quick question. You're known for going around the world to get these title fights. You came to America to fight. You'll fight anybody, like Frank has mentioned earlier. What are your thoughts on traveling to South Africa for this title fight against Van Heerden?
Yeah, it's something I'm looking forward to. Van Heerden, a good fighter, and it's a fight I've been offered a couple of times before, to be honest. I was European champion at the time, and I was offered a fight with him. So he's a fighter who I've been watching. When a fighter gets mentioned to you keep an eye on the progress and see how they're going. So I've been watching Chris, and like you say, this is another tough challenge. Traveling to South Africa, fighting away from home again. And I'm the type of fighter who a lot of boxers say, they'll fight anyone, anytime, any place, anywhere. And in reality, that really isn't the case. But I think in my career, I've shown willingness to travel, take on all comers. And the fight in South Africa is something I'm excited about. I was in South Africa a couple of months ago for the press conference. It's a great country, with great people in it. So it's another experience, another chapter in my career, and something I'm looking forward to. I'm excited about it.
I got to ask you this, Matthew. Basically, touching on Tim's question, is you're no stranger to being in close fights, controversial fights. Just close. You'll go 12 rounds. You'll end it early. Do you feel the need to stop Chris Van Heerden on the 3rd? On the 2nd of March, or do you have faith that the South African judges, officials, will treat you fairly if it was to go to a decision?
That's a good question, and I've got to be honest, really. I'm not too worried about Chris, to be honest. I feel I'm the better fighter. I think I've boxed at the better level, and I'm fully confident of winning this fight. Like you say, that the judging does concern me. I'd be a liar. It's always the case when you fight away from home. The judging does concern you. I know there's a lot of IBO title fights take place in South Africa. And I remember when I boxed Lovemore Nadu over in England. I mean, that was for the same belt. That was a few years ago now, but that really was a shocking decision. I threw more punches, I landed more punches, I forced the fight throughout, and they ended up giving it a draw. And it's still a decision that angers me to this day. So I am worried about the decision. I hope the IBO judges give me a fair crack over a fair crack of the whip over there, because I do feel, if I get a fair shakedown, I feel like I go over there and take the title, definitely.
Yeah, and Matt, that's the one thing I've got to ask you this too, champ, is the one thing, I mean, you've had a great career. The only thing that has eluded you, I mean, you were so close. You were inches away, IBF International Championship, best welterweight in Europe. You had it all. You had the title opportunities, as you mentioned, Lovemore Nadu, controversial draw. How bad is that eluding you, that the world title? I mean, I know, you have over 50 fights. You like I said, you're a sensational fighter, exciting fighter. I don't think you've got the fair crack as far as, you getting those opportunities, a world title. Is that something that eludes you? Is that something that you can sit there and you can breathe a sign of relief and say, finally I'm world champion?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like you say, I've had a good career, European champion, countless other titles, but it has always been my ambition, my burning desire to become a world champion. And like I say, against Lovemore Nadu, like we touched on before, it was a shocking decision. I took on Saul Alvarez for the WBC light middleweight title, which is a weight I've never campaigned at really, and Alvarez outweighed me, quite considerably on the night of the fight and was the much bigger fighter. So, yeah, the world title is something I've always wanted, really, and like you say, 50-plus fights into my career, it's the one thing that's eluded me. So that's really driving me for this fight, it's pushing me on in the gym when things are getting difficult. It is, it's pushing me on because it's been me ambition since I was a kid. I've always believed in myself and believed I could become a world champion, and it's the one thing that's eluded me, and it's the one thing I want so badly. So I can guarantee I'm going to be giving it everything on the 2nd of March, and I'm confident I can fulfill that dream of becoming a world champion.
And I'll tell you this, you mentioned Saul Alvarez, and the one thing is when you took that fight, I mean, if anybody ever had doubt that Matthew Hatton had balls of steel, that fight, there was a huge, this is a guy who should be fighting at middleweight or even 160, actually super middleweight. You fought him, and you went in there, and many people didn't think you would go to 12, and you did, and you fought valiantly and courageously. And again, it was just the wrong division for you at the time. But I want to bring up Saul Canelo Alvarez, and I want to get your thoughts. As of right now, the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight is dust in the wind right now. The next one, obviously Floyd Mayweather with him being undefeated against Saul Alvarez, who's an up and coming star in boxing. If they were to fight, Matthew, with your expertise in boxing, who would you pick to win that fight?
Well, like you say, both those guys, two fantastic fighters. I'm a big fan of Floyd Mayweather. Obviously, he beat me elder brother Ricky, and you've got to admire Floyd's fantastic record. He's an unbeaten fighter, and without question, in my mind, he's the best pound-for-pound fighter out there. Alvarez, a fighter on the way up. I was really impressed when I fought him, and he seems to be getting better with each fight. I mean, to be honest, I don't think there is anybody out there who can beat Mayweather, to be honest. But if I had to choose someone who I feel could push him and could possibly beat him, it wouldn't be Pacquiao or any of the other guys. It would be Alvarez. I think he's a quality fighter. He's getting better all the time. And I think that would be, most people would back Mayweather to win that fight, as I would myself. But I think I wouldn't put too much money on it. I wouldn't gamble too much money on it, because I think it'd be a real close fight. I think you still got to back Mayweather. He's still the pound-for-pound man out there. But, Alvarez is getting better all the time. I would still favour Mayweather, but if Sal beat him, it certainly wouldn't surprise me. And what a fan! For me, that's the fight out there now. I know people still craving the Pacquiao fight. But for me, the fight, if I was sat at home, with a beer in front of me, wanting to watch any fight, that's the fight I'd choose. I'd like to see Mayweather fight Alvarez.
You know what? I agree with you 100%, Matt. And that's why I asked you. Your expertise in the sport of boxing. I want to ask you another thing. Some stuff going. I want to turn back a couple more questions about your upcoming fight. It was actually just announced today that the fight between Kell Brook and Devon Alexander for the IBF welterweight title is being postponed. An elbow injury, I believe it was. It was an injury towards Devon Alexander, so it's being postponed now. You being inside the ring with Kell Brook, a very tough fight. I got to ask you, do you think that him going over to the United States, fighting Devon Alexander, a very difficult style, do you think when the fight actually does go down, do you think he has what it takes to go over there and bring that world title back to the UK?
Yeah, well, Kell Brook, obviously when we boxed, things didn't go great for me in that fight. I broke my nose in the first round of that fight, which affected me in so many different ways. But that's not me making excuses. The better man won on the night, and full credit to Kell. It's just the reason why I didn't perform to the best of my ability. But Kell is, believe you me, maybe people in the States won't have heard too much about Kell Brook. But Kell Brook is having been in the ring with him firsthand, is a quality fighter. I know people will see Alexander as a favourite going into this fight. I've seen Devon fight a hell of a lot. He's a good world champion. But Kell Brook is a special fighter, like we discussed there. Alvarez and people like that. Kell Brook, is talent-wise is as good as these guys. So I think it'll be a close fight. Kell hasn't really fought on the road too many times, and that could make things difficult. But Kell, believe you me, to all the American fight fans out there, is a quality fighter, and I think it will be a great fight. Again, another close fight, but maybe I'm showing my patriotic side here, but I fancy Kell Brook to win that fight when eventually it does come round. He's a real good fighter, quite a stiff hitter, a heavy puncher, and I think he's got the tools to win that fight. I do.
You know what? I agree too. I would like that. I think Kell Brook is another. I think 2012. You mentioned, you're being a countryman, a home team type of guy. I mentioned earlier that the UK in 2012 exploded, and it became the hottest spot for boxing. And fire's still burning hard. They're burning really hot right now for the UK with so many stars emerging. You getting ready to fight for a world title in South Africa. And, you got Kell Brook coming over here. So it's a British invasion, if you want to call it, in boxing worldwide. And I like it, and it's an exciting time with some exciting fighters. I got to ask you, here's another question. A very good friend of ATG Radio, our show, Matthew, you recently, I believe a little over a month ago, was announced you are going to be working with him. I believe as management is David Coldwell. Tell us how that's going so far and what brought you and David Coldwell together.
Yeah, Dave's someone I've known for many years in the boxing game, and he's someone I've always liked, really. We've always got on well. He's making strides in the British boxing game now. In my last fight against Michael Lomax, I boxed on one of his shows, and I've always got on really well. We've been like friends for many years now. I'm a self-managed fighter, but I was struggling doing things by myself, really. I mean, I can see the reason why some fighters go self-managed, but I just prefer to concentrate on the boxing, really. And I think when you go with a manager, the most important thing for anyone is trust. And I've known Dave for a lot of years. He's a great guy. I trust him 100%. And like I say, he's going to manage me from now on. And I trust Dave 100% to get me the right fights and make the right moves for my career. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the future, even though I've had a lot of fights behind me. I still do believe that the best is yet to come from me.
And speaking of David Coldwell, and I agree with you, Matthew. You got the Frank Warrens and you got the Matchrooms, and they're the guys running they're the big thing over in the UK right now. But I've noticed in 2012, and now David Coldwell is slipping in there. He's putting on some exciting events. He's got some exciting fighters he's working with. And, I think he is. I think come starting this year, he's going to really make a big impact while you have, Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, competing with each other. They're going to forget you got somebody like David Coldwell coming up and taking over. But, Matthew, let's get right back to your opponent. Coming, you said a couple weeks away. Like we said, we've been actually hyping this fight up for the past 6 months. The 2nd of March, you and Chris Van Heerden, IBO welterweight title. He's ranked in the top 10 in the world in the welterweight division. He had an impressive fight with Sebastian Lujan in his last fight. But, again, as we touched on, you getting a fair shake in this fight, he won the title from Kaiser Mabuza, the IBO world title, in the vacant title in South Africa, in a very close fight. There's some that said Mabuza should have got it, home cooking. Out of some of these fights, out of these tough opponents that he's fought, his last two being his most toughest competition to date, have you looked over the tape? Have you seen some things you can exploit to, make this kid look amateurish and be able to, convince the judges or stop him and knock him out in a devastating fashion in this fight?
Yeah, absolutely. Chris is a good fighter. I respect Chris, as I respect every other, fighter who steps into the ring. Like you say, Chris has had some decent wins there over decent opposition. I do feel I'm the best fighter Chris will have faced, on the 2nd of March. And, Chris, like I say, I respect Chris. He's a good fighter. He's strong. He's tough. He's very determined. I think Chris thinks he's a little bit better than he is. I think he's a legend in his own mind, we say, over in England, and he's had a lot to say for himself. A lot to say about what he's going to do to me on the 2nd of March. He's had a fair bit to say on Twitter also. So he's talking a great fight, and let's see if he can perform as well on the 2nd of March. Because, like I say, this is a fight. Going into my training camp's going really well. Touch wood, is going to continue for the next few weeks. And even though it's a difficult task going over to South Africa, I feel I'm the better fighter. It's as simple as that. I think, like I say, he's had some good wins, but I do believe I'm the best fighter Chris has faced, So, yeah, this is a fight I go into, not hoping to win. I go into this fight expecting to win. And I think the only way Chris can win this fight if he does get favours off the judges. But let's hope that doesn't happen. And I've got to try and take the judges out of the equation. And from what I've seen, I feel I can do that.
And like I said, Matthew, when I told him, I said you're going to give this guy trouble. I know you're going to put the pressure on this kid, and I can't wait for this fight. 2nd of March, going down in South Africa, IBO World Welterweight Championship. Matthew, we appreciate you joining us here. You go in there on the 2nd of March. You bring that IBO World Championship. We'd love to have you. First things first, you got to get past Van Heerden. We'd love to get you back on the show and call out some more names at welterweight, man. Talk about unifying some titles after you pick up the IBO World title, if it's okay with you.
Any time, like I say, I've been very fortunate to have boxed over in the States many a times, and I've had, some of my fondest boxing memories have been my fights over in the States. The people are so friendly. I love the place, and it's an ambition of mine. Hopefully I can capture this IBO World title, and it's another dream of mine to fight in America again, because it's a great country with great people, and I absolutely love the place. So, no, it's great to speak to you any time at all.
Well, where I live, Matthew, you're undefeated where I live. You've never lost in Las Vegas. That's
right, yeah. Like I say, some of my happiest memories are over there. So let's hope I can get past Van Heerden and keep that streak going.
You know what? I wish you all the best, and I'm going to encourage everybody. You got a ton of followers on Twitter right now. I just followed you at Magic Matt Hatton on Twitter. Follow him. Quite possibly on the 2nd of March, you're going to be talking to a new world welterweight champion. I know here on ATG Radio, we look forward to talking to you as being the IBO world welterweight champion. Matt, we appreciate your time today. I know I kept you a little longer than I said we would. But
no problem.
Enjoyable talking to you, and I hope we can do this again, Chan.
Anytime. Nice one. Thank you.
God bless, man. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers. All right, there you have it. Magic Matt Hatton. And, like I said, it's going to be a good fight. We've been pumping this fight up for over 6 months now, and we're looking forward to seeing it go down.